Hello world. All right, we are live for office hours today. So excited. We've got a number of questions in the Discord already. And I'm just going to grab the YouTube live stream and stick it in Discord. And then let me just make sure I don't have my one password up anywhere. I don't think I've ever done that before, but that would be bad. Let me share my screen now. Here we go. Okay, let's talk about office hours really quick. Office hours is your opportunity to come ask me a question live and in person. Well, okay, not in person, but with video feed. Um, if you'd rather not do video feed, then you can do audio feed. So I've got this Call Kent podcast where you can ask questions and I will answer. You just record your call right in the browser. And I need to fix this waveform because it was super cool, but it doesn't work anymore. I don't know why. But yeah, so you can ask your question right here and I will respond, and it's awesome. But if you'd rather have like more of a dialogue going on, then that is also perfectly awesome. And yeah, you can join the Zoom. I actually give priority to folks who are in the Zoom meeting, so do join the Zoom for sure. And if you want, you can just post your question here in the Discord, and I will answer there as well. So like even during the week, throw it in here, and then I'll answer it here. So nobody's in the Zoom with me, so I'm just going to start with the oldest Discord question from Taryn. What's up, Taryn? Answering this now, just to notify him in case he wants to come over. ESM and CommonJS, the overall state of modules in the JS ecosystem is a little weird right now. And I was wondering if you could take a talk a little bit about this bug. I recently migrated my Remix site to Vite, even though it's unstable. I literally just deployed my site to production with Vite yesterday, so that's exciting. And came across this module weirdness. Yeah, okay. So any thoughts why we need to do that? Remarking better. Okay. Um, hmm. What did I? Oh, okay. So this is where I fixed it. And we're saying dot default. Yeah. Okay. So the reason this is a problem is because I actually am the creator of Remark and Better and these transformers and stuff. And I need to fix my module. So let's take a look at that. Remark, I can't remember. Remark embedder. Here we go. So Remark embedder core. There is a problem in the package JSON here where we're saying the main is a .js. We don't have a module. Yeah, that's right. So this is just a common JS module. Um, but the way that I am compiling it, I think, is what's causing this problem. It's probably something to do with the tsconfig or something. Oh, great. That's not very helpful. Um, KCD scripts is awesome, but I don't actively use it enough and develop it enough for it to be something I'm excited to see when I see this. Like, oh man, I haven't updated that in forever. So in fact, this was 4 years ago that I made the initial release. Good grief. Anyway, yeah, it's something to do with the way it's compiled. It'd probably be easier if I looked at Remark embedder core on npm and looked at the code. So we've got the dist and index.js right here. And this is going to be module.export, no, exports.default equals void. And then we assign it to default. So that's what's going on. We're it's not actually an ES module. It's like a faux ES module. And so that's what's causing the problem. I think there's a way to make it so that this would work without doing the default thing. But honestly, if I ever do get around to turning this into updating it for the world, I would launch a 4.0 version and yeah, uh, make it like a native ESM. So there is another workaround though. In my site, when I moved it over to Vite, or actually, I should say when Pedro moved it over to Vite, he was the one primarily helping with this. We go to yeah, the Vite config. So here is the CJS interop plugin, and yeah, remarking better right there. So that's the solution for now, is to use the CJS interop thing, and then I can come over here and I can do a regular import and I don't have to do the dot default thing. So I'm not entirely, like, to answer your question, I'm not entirely sure why this is working or ends up the way that it is, but this is the solution. And ultimately the real solution is I go and update those to be native ESM, and then we move on from our CommonJS sadness right there. I'm actually very surprised that these are the only modules that had the problem. So that's interesting. Oh, actually, that's not entirely true. I have a patch here for my MD temp package that apparently says we have a module, but we don't actually have a module. So I'm going to fix that too. Dear, the things that you do in the real world. Okay, coming back. Hopefully that answers your question. Good luck with that. Okay, great. Pete Disc J. Yeah, question about paid internships and stuff. I actually answered this on the Call Kent podcast. So yeah, go listen to that. It was good. All right, Common Dracus answering this now. This question came this morning. So when or with use query, does adding a second query key that is stateful act as a dependency array like use effect deps array? Because query is from use state, this will now refire the request anytime a query changes. Yes, and you would want it to, right? That's the goal, is that you want this query to stay in sync with what the server would respond based on the inputs that you give. And so, yeah, the key is what identify or is how the query results are stored in the query cache. And so every time you say, hey, this is the book search I want, here's the query, it's going to look in the query cache and see if there's something in there for that key. And if there's not, then it's going to go make a request. So if the query changes, it's going to go look and says, oh, there's nothing in here. So I need to make a fetch request, and it's going to return the loading state and all of that stuff. So yes, you are correct. That is the way to, that is a way to think about it. And the cool thing is that you don't have to worry about like runaway effects and stuff like that. It all manages it inside itself. So, all right, Benjamin, answering this now. And somewhat random question. Oh, random questions are fun. I recently worked on a CRUD-heavy application that involved over 20 types of data, users, organization, projects. I found myself repeatedly copying and adjusting same file hierarchy, replacing user with organization, and so on, to quickly set up the admin interface for each type. List, create, update, delete. Yep, it was pure CRUD in all senses of the word, I imagine. After the fifth iteration, I felt exhausted and frustrated. Looking ahead, I know I'll encounter similar tasks, so I'm considering creating a tool to generate the remix routes and drizzle models, speeding up this process. It would be a CMS a la ShadCN, where you generate then customize. I'm not sure where the short terms, where to start in terms of creating code with code. Do you have experience building code generator or tips on how to approach this? If not, that's totally fine. I just wanted to ask, but if you do, that would be amazing. So it's been a while since I have worked with code generation tools, but I have before, and my favorite is Plop. This was my favorite years ago, but yeah, still a good tool, I expect. Yeah, last published a month ago, so actively developed. Uh, oh, this guy, what does he work on? Is he, I cannot remember. He works on something that I see him working on occasionally. CLI testing library. How cool is that? Yeah, I forgot what it is. He is working on something interesting. Oh, the TANStack stuff. Yeah, he works on TANStack stuff. So, yeah, at least he is using this, or I suppose, because he wasn't the original author. I think this guy was. Whoa. Yeah, that is familiar. Andrew. So he must have joined up later and taken ownership or something like that. Anyway, I like it. It's a pretty good tool. I used it before and it works out pretty well. Um, so that would be one thing. Another thing to consider is I wonder if there's an abstraction hiding around somewhere for helping with some of this stuff. Um, you want to be careful with over abstracting, but if you're going to be doing this a lot, might not be a terrible idea to like make a set of abstractions that make these types of things easier. Server components will definitely help with that sort of thing because you want to have like a component that manages doing the data rather than a route. But for now, you could definitely make like a reusable loader and a reusable UI and all of that stuff. And then each route just like uses those things. Actually, this is kind of similar. Not, don't read too much into this, but the Epic Stack has something kind of like that with the routes username note editor. So this is actually ignored by our Remix config. So we have anything that is prefixed with a double underscore gets ignored. It's not a route. And so that's this note editor is not a route, but it exports an action, exports a note editor component. I don't think it exports a loader though, and it exports an error boundary. And so then, and the reason is because the creating a new note and editing an existing note are very similar. And so we make this like faux route sort of thing, and then we use the pieces that we want. So here with loading a new one, we have our own loader, and then we export the action from the note editor and the note editor component itself. And that works out pretty well. And then for editing, we have a different loader. Now we're actually loading an actual note. We are going to be rendering the note editor. We're passing a prop for that to specify the note so that we can use the loader data there. And then have our own error boundary for this, and we export the action. So it occurs to me that actually we could probably re-export the error boundary from the note editor. Pretty sure that, yeah, those are exactly the same. So we could probably do that. Anyway, the point is you can have like these modules that are kind of like routes or at least have utilities for routes, and then other routes can use those. Actually, we do something similar to this also for our auth routes, I think. Yeah, like verify is a route and it exports like a bunch of utilities. Like here's prepare verification that other routes are using. Here's is code valid for like this is validating the user's code, like two-factor auth code and stuff. And then it's yeah, this is actually a route itself, and so it's using utilities from other routes. So routes are like talking to each other, and I just move things where it makes the most sense and then export to each other. So that's what's going on here. I think it's actually a pretty elegant solution to this. So yeah, definitely you can. What I would investigate is see, like, look at the whole landscape of what you've built and see if there are recurring themes that you're seeing in there and try to make some abstractions. Um, it might end up really awful, but it could be good. Good luck. If that doesn't work, then plop is fine. Okay, hey, McCool. I've been working with React almost 3 years now. To this date, I still feel anxious implementing a form. By forms, I mean long forms with tons of input fields. There's so many things to set up, like validations. It becomes more of a pain when implementing edit form. Our company uses React. Can you suggest tips while implementing forms? I do not want to add an additional library. Have a great day with your toddler. Oh, thank you. Um, okay, yeah, so uh, I'm going to start by offering this piece of advice. Epic React. I saw today a quote that says, advice is just opinions in instruction form, which I thought was kind of interesting. So yeah, this might be a little bit helpful. Like often people have performance issues in forms. So I'm going to share that. That may not be helpful for you. Yeah, like setting up validations and stuff, it becomes a pain. You don't want a library though, so that like the libraries in this world are intended to reduce the pain. So I don't know what to tell you. Other than use the library, I can share my favorite library. If you go through the professional web forms workshop of Epic Web, then check out um, yeah, actually all of these, then you'll be in a pretty good spot as far as that's concerned. So I'm going to share this first because this will teach you a lot of really good practices that not necessarily need a library. So you may be able to avoid a library, but I definitely get into a library pretty quick right here with schema validation. We use Zod and Conform. Just fantastic libraries. Give them a look. Definitely worth it. Zod.dev and conform.guide. I'll stick those in here. I know you said no libraries, but yeah, sorry. The problem that you're describing is what libraries solve. Now, you could create one yourself. That is what I did with Rocket Rental, and used that to provide a lot of feedback to Conform, and Conform effectively became everything that I wanted out of Form Solution. But if you want to do it yourself, then yeah, take a look at this. This still uses Zod though, so I don't know if you're going to be able to avoid that. Like it seriously is totally worth it. So anyway, I hope that's helpful to you. Good luck. Okay. Pete is asking your opinion on using Remix of Vite. What does Vite do that's not possible with Remix's default bundler? So yeah, my thoughts are very positive. One thing that Vite does is the speed of HMR is way faster. And not to say that Remix's HMR was slow, it wasn't. It was plenty fast. But HMR with Vite is way, way faster. The other thing that I like about it is that now the Remix team needs to use fewer of their own resources on the compiler and can focus more of their resources and time on other aspects of the framework, which is also a really good thing. Um, Another really awesome thing about it is now the entire Vite ecosystem is open to us. And so if you have a way that you want or need to build your application, as long as you can make a Vite plugin for it, you can use it with your Remix app. Also a big fan of that. Another thing that I really like about using Vite with Remix is the migration story. I don't really have anything that I care to migrate, but I am excited that like most people building React apps are using Create React App or Webpack or something like that. And if they haven't already moved over to Vite, like the vast majority of people are are in that world and getting it so that they can get closer to the world of Remix is only a good thing. So for those reasons, I'm very excited about Vite. Yeah, I'm really happy with the improvement there. Okay, and Conform is awesome. With that, I don't see any other questions coming in. Yeah, there's nobody else in the Zoom call, so I'll just wait. Or I'll start closing things out, and if anybody has a question, get asking real quick because we're gonna wrap this thing up. So just a reminder, if you do have questions, the Call Kent podcast is here, and I have no calls. I'm nobody is waiting for me. So I'm waiting for a call. So somebody call me. Call me maybe. And yeah, so if you have a question during between now and next week, I'm actually gonna have to miss office hours next week. I've got a meeting that I've had to reschedule twice, and that was the time that they chose. And I was like, wow, I don't want to ask them to choose a different time, so we'll just not, and we'll just miss office hours next week. So if yeah, if you've got a question that can be answered audibly without video, then feel free to ask on the Call Kent podcast. And other than that, yeah, stay tuned. We've got some really cool and exciting things to announce. I think we're going to announce something tomorrow about Epic Web that you're going to really love. And then next week, most likely we're going to announce something else as well. I'm actually looking at it over here just to see. Yeah, no progress on it yet, but we should have something really exciting next week. Just keep your calendar open for April 11th. And if you can make it to Utah, then that's even better. I'm just gonna say that. So thanks everybody, and have a wonderful day.